Fingers crossed for a lunar Saturn occultation tonight. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Well, I'm hoping tonight to be able to capture the occultation of the Moon and Saturn. Now, we up here in Auckland are just in the path to be able to see it. I think anything further south, like from Taupo downwards, we'll probably just see Saturn scoot past the Moon, but we are high enough up here to be able to see it duck behind the Moon, or should I say the Moon go over the top of Saturn. I think the eastern coast of Australia will see it as well, and of course further north we'll see it, and in the islands. Now this is for up in Auckland here at least, due to happen at 12 minutes past 1 in the morning, so I'm really hoping it's going to be clear. And apparently it will appear to pop out from behind the Moon at about 1:45, so I'll have about 47 minutes wait between it disappearing and reappearing. Now I'll be using the Meade 10-inch. Now it does have a focal reducer on it, but which is not your typical thing for planetary, but then I'm trying to get a lot of the Moon with the Saturn a lot smaller, so it's not like you would normally try and image Saturn as large as possible, where I would have actually a Barlow on there instead to magnify things. I'm also not really set up for planetary because I've got the mono camera on there, but I'll attempt to have a go with the mono setup, and it'll be black and white, but that'll be okay. I mean, the Moon, unless you're doing a mineral moon, looks fairly black and white anyway. Saturn can have a bit of colour, but that's right, I just got to go with what I'm set up with. Anyway, we'll pop onto the computer and have a look at stellarium and see how it's all going to shape up. So here is a map just showing the visibility of the lunar occultation of Saturn tonight, or tomorrow morning should I say. And this is when it disappears, and this is when it's going to reappear. And if you have a look here, here's New Zealand, and the cutoff here is about kind of midway through the North Island. Now I'm up here in Auckland, so I do get to see it, but probably anything further south of Taupo wouldn't see it. It would just notice Saturn sort of scooting over across the top of the Moon. And I'm presuming here that the east coast of Australia is also going to see it too. So this is what stellarium says will be the positioning for Auckland. And whilst the Moon isn't, you know, very high in the sky, I'm hoping it'll be high enough that I can image it over the roof of the observatory. I'm just going to zoom in here. I've centered on Saturn so that everything won't move out of the way, but the Saturn it's going to sort of pop in here, probably somewhere around about the 4 o'clock position, disappear and come out about the 1 o'clock position. So you can see why we're just going to make it, being in Auckland. Any further south it would probably just scoot past over here. And if it was further north, of course, it would appear to go through here further, but that's enough, I think, to get an occultation, so I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to come forward now, and we'll just speed things up a little bit. And if we come to this point here, it's 12 minutes past 1 in the morning, where it sort of appears to just start to, or disappear behind the Moon. If I go faster forward again, we'll just speed things up a little bit more, and it's going to get into the sort of the darkened part of the Moon here, and it'll just pop out at 1:45. So about a half an hour wait, or just over half an hour wait, from between the Moon between Saturn disappearing and then reappearing. So yeah, that's the plan tonight, to try and capture the occultation with it both starting to disappear behind and hopefully reappearing as well. Okay, so there was a quick change of plan. The Meade is, because I've got two telescopes on there, the Meade is sitting too low and can't see past the roof of the observatory. But the Skywatcher can, and because I put the ASI 1600 on there for balance and maybe for use while the 2600's away, I've had to switch to that. So we've got the moon very bright, we've got Saturn up here, and so this is the ASI 1600. I'm using the red filter. I figured that was probably as good as any because I am using a mono camera, and if we just turn down the gain here for the moon, and you can see the moon there. Unfortunately, Saturn gets very, very dull. Unfortunately, Saturn gets very, very dull. We do have a bit of cloud coming across, which is not so good, and you can see there's a lot of atmospheric wobble, which is a little unfortunate. But anyway, we've got a little bit of time left yet, not too long though. Okay, so we've got Saturn in there. Unfortunately, because the moon is extremely bright, so I kind of have to move between showing the moon extremely bright with Saturn there, or reducing it down to that. For my final capture, I might just have to do a combination of these. So I'm just going to start a capture, and we might just go for 5 minutes. Unfortunately, it's going to be very, very slow. Okay, I'm going to stop the capture so we can see it better live, because at the moment, so there it is. It's just going to start to disappear. If I go a little higher, I'm not sure whether we can see some of the moons. No, just too overexposed. And when we come down to this point here, of course, it's hard to see Saturn at all. There it is, just disappearing behind the moon. And then we'll try and pick it up when it pops out a little bit later. See, the last of the ring's just about to disappear.
Eventually.
There she blows. Oh, and there it is, popping back out again. So this is the sort of one of the disadvantages of having a double system like this, because depending on which way the telescope's pointing, one telescope would be quite low because it's obviously below the centre point, and the other telescope is high, which I guess is an advantage if that's what you're filming with. I wanted to film with the Meade, and if we have a look down here, you can see that it was pretty much pointing at the wall and the roof of the observatory, when the Skywatcher could just see over the roof because the moon was pretty much over there at the time when the occultation was going on. So the other thing I had to do was move this roof all the way out, because it only goes as far as the track will take it. So that just involved putting the key in here and unlocking it, and then we just travel out here. It's just a matter of getting up and pushing the roof back. Oh. So you can see it's pretty much, it's got that little bit of track to go, but I needed to go further, so I had to push it so the track comes completely off and away from the cog of the motor that's turning it. So we do have about that much extra room to push it back. So that's what I did, and that was enough to get the sky watcher so it could actually see the moon. My plan had been to use the 533 on the back of the Mead, obviously to get a bit more zoom in and perhaps get Saturn looking a little bit bigger, but Sharp Cap wouldn't pick it up, and as it turned out, although I had version 4.0, it needed version 4.1 before it would recognise it. So after the event had occurred, I was able to uninstall Sharp Cap, reinstall it, and immediately it found the 533. So instead I used the old ASI 1600 here. The grill on the back's a little bit rusty actually, but that seemed to work okay. Okay, well that was my attempt to capture the lunar occultation of Saturn. Didn't quite work out as I'd planned. What I've captured isn't that great, but not a complete loss. There's something there to look at anyway, even if they are a little bit fuzzy. I guess I should have really checked that Sharp Cap would have picked up the ASI 533. I just assumed it would, given that it was working fine with Nina. But you know, I've learnt my lesson. Make sure you've got your software up to date. And even if I had the 533 working with the twin setup, the Mead telescope was just a little bit too low to shoot over the roof, and it was just lucky that the moon was just high enough that the sky watcher could pick it up. And it was also lucky I'd put the 1600 on the back. I wasn't really planning to image with it. It was really there for balance while the 2600 is away, but it did mean that I could quickly get it up and running and at least capture something, so it wasn't a complete loss. Also, I wasn't really picking up much in the frame rates, you know, 1 or 2 frames per second. Most were being lost. I'm not entirely sure why. I think it should have been better than that, but anyway, the images that I've got, which might appear over my shoulders, are not great, but at least there's something, and they're just captured from a single frame, basically from the video each, and I've tried to rescue something out of it. But look, I should have some more videos coming out shortly. I don't know if I'm going to get them out in the next couple of weeks or so, because I am heading across the ditch to Oz to go to the Star Stuff conference, Astro conference, which will be really excited. That's being put on by Dylan O'Donnell, and that'll be my first, you know, official Astro conference I've been to, so really looking forward to that. And look, until the next occultation, I hope everybody's getting lots and lots of clear skies.